Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. In War of the Visions, let's do a level 99 review of Lucia, and she is my favorite attacker in the game. And I apologize in advance for making her sound good, but every unit in the game is good. And that's why I try not to answer questions about which unit to pull or save for. For example, the other day I just went into Arena and I fought a level 99 King Erede, the Leonis King, and he kicked my butt. I knew in theory that he was really strong, but once I actually fought him in practice, he was really, really good. So yeah, just get the characters you like, make them work. That's the fun of the game. But anyway, about Lucia, I didn't pull specifically for her, because I just went hard on Miranda, and that took some doing, maybe 80 or 90 pulls. So I decided to take a break from pulling. But I got Lucia the day she came out, just from like a free pull or something, so I decided to level her up. She doesn't do any like status effects, and she doesn't do the most damage of any attacker, but I use her the most because she's good everywhere. So that's why she's my favorite. She also might be a favorite of the developers because they keep making content where she shines. And she also looks great, very nice thighs there. And to talk about women again briefly, in the Miranda video I said I like tomboys, but of course I also like the oversexed Onesans. I don't chase the oversexed Onesans in real life, however. The thing about being very obviously beautiful like them is that they'll get a lot of attention, and they'll be, approached by men of all types all the time. So if you do date or marry one, you have to deal with them getting a lot of attention. And if you're at all a jealous type, that's not going to be a good combination. I'm not trying to say that beautiful women are troublesome, it's just that trouble sometimes finds them, and I don't want to deal with that trouble, so I generally let the real beauties pass me by. I have a lot of sympathy, actually, for beautiful women, which might sound strange because they're already so admired, but they do have their own cross to bear. And in the next life, I would not like to be a beautiful woman. But anyway, let's get back to talking about this video game. Lucia is a wind element, and she has a new job, Double Gunner. This is different than the regular Gunner in that it has more attack and chaining, with more area of effect and also short-range attacks, while Gunner is a mix of support and status effects and more single-target attacks. So for those reasons, with Gunners you might want to raise their faith, so you can get better use out of their status effects, but for Double Gunners you want to keep their faith low, to give them better resistance to magic. Gunners and Double Gunners, they both have the same general attack range of 4, so that makes them great for farming easy quests. Most other characters in the game, they need to use AP points to do ranged attacks, but not Gunners. And she's also, I think, the first unit to have defense piercing, so that makes her a super tank slayer, but especially a Mont slayer because of the element advantage. So if you see a team in PvP with Mont, and there are a ton of those, you automatically have an advantage on that team when you're using Lucia. But let's look at her stats. HP is low-ish, attack is high, speed is so-so, and luck is so-so. Resistances are pretty good, actually. She's only weak to magic and then ice, and then poison and berserk she has some resistance. And next, let's look at her Trustmaster. This is one of the better ones in the game. This is an accessory. HP and defense are so low that they're not really worth considering, but she has evade and agility, which are two of the stats that you want most from accessories. And then this is female only, which is too bad. And then the active skill, this is a self-buff. For 3 turns, raise the range of your attacks by 1, and then raise agility. Not everyone can make the best use of the additional range, but almost everybody wants more agility. So yeah, this is a pretty good Trustmaster here. Next, let's look at skills. We'll look at the main skills for Double Gunner first. So here, this is her meat and potatoes attack. Very cheap cost of 12 AP. A little bit of range, does a little bit of damage. I use this one all the time. And then here, this is a 4-hit attack, and this is great for building chains, which will be very handy for raid bosses, and then also other high-level content in the future. Not the most damage, however. But her most damaging attack is usually going to be this double shot. 2-hit attack, and then they both get the big damage. A little bit expensive at 28, but this is good for finishing chains after you build it up a little bit with her 4-hit attack. But yeah, this 4-hit attack, I use it all the time clearing those missions that ask you for chains. What I'll do is I'll go into a mission with auto battle off, I'll use this ability, and then turn auto battle back on, clear the mission, and then I'll have that chain mission cleared. Very easy to use. And then here is a self buff, which also has a small area of effect. It will raise the projectile damage of people that you buff by a lot, and then also for herself, it'll give her defense piercing. And then what defense piercing is that it will ignore a unit's defense value. So Mont or Engelbert, they have defense of like 30, 35. But if you have the self buff, you'll cut that down by a certain amount. And then, her being a double gunner, she has some area of effect attacks as well. Here is the split shot. This is kind of a crazy area of effect here. And it might look tricky to use, but actually it's pretty handy. You can hit just guys on like one side or the other or both. This will hit all of the guys in that 3-panel area, so it's kind of like piercing. And it's most fun when you can shoot around one of your teammates. Like your teammate is like standing in front of you, and then you hit guys on either side of them. That's pretty flashy. If we look at the sub-job, here's another area of effect attack, and this is one of my favorite attacks in the game. It has one of my favorite animations as well. But hits lots of guys right in front of her, and then does pretty good damage as well. Here's another self-buff. This will raise her defense and her evade. So whether you're building her for evade or not, you'll get good use out of this. And then here's a really interesting TP skill that I like, Stun Shot. This will hit guys, a little bit of area of effect, has a chance to stun. I guess I lied before about her not doing the status effects, but if you wanted a greater chance of this stun going off, you could raise her faith, although I don't know if it's worth the trade-off. And then with these buffs, especially this one here, which will greatly raise the projectile attack of people next to you, Lucia and Federica, they work great together, and they're more than the sum of their parts. I've said in some recent videos that maybe Lucia and Federica have not kept up in the meta for damage, but if you use them together, they really help each other out, and then make them more able to survive the meta, I would say. So if you can, use them together in PvP. Okay, let's look at another sub-job. This is Hunter, and it might seem a little redundant to have both Gunner and Hunter, since they both do ranged attacks, but they do a little bit of different things. Hunter is better at elevation stuff. If we look here, we can see an elevation of 5, so that means characters that are above or below 5 elevation differences, they can still hit. Gunner is not good at elevation, so they can cover each other in that sense. Also, the Hunter attacks, they can shoot over obstacles and teammates, while Gunner can only shoot straight ahead. So if there's like a rock or something, or like a teammate in the way, you won't be able to hit what is behind them. And then just like with any Hunter sub-job, Lucia has some charge skills which have like casting times like a spell. I don't like these, and I usually turn them off when I have the option. And it's worse when they have like more than one, because you gotta select each one, and you gotta see which one will hit in time before the enemy moves, which one will do the most damage. And it's just too much thinking, so I turn them off, and then I just use the attacks that are just come out instantly. And the most important one is this top one up here. This is aim, I think, but this has a 100% chance to hit, which will be important against high evade units. It doesn't do the most damage, but hitting them for some damage is better than missing them completely. Okay, and then we got the Monk subjob. I would mostly stay away from this one. Maybe in the future, if there is a boss that is weak to strike, wind type attacks, then Lucia will be really good. But for now, I'm not going to use this. Okay, let's talk about equipment real quick. Best gun for her will probably be the Ras Al Gethi. You could also use the Vega if you want a lot of accuracy. That again would be useful against the high evade units. One Trustmaster that I would really like is Rairyu's gun. It doesn't have the most attack at 80, but it gives you evade 13, which is really nice, and then gives you the dark status ailment. And that will work great with her being an evade type unit, since that will lower the chance of them hitting you. Oh, I forgot to talk about support and reaction skills. Let's talk about that here. Maybe her most important support ability will be Tune-Up. This will raise agility and then also the defense piercing. So if you combine that with the self-buff that I showed earlier, that'll give her even more defense piercing, so she can do even more damage on people like Mont and other tanks. And then here, this is just a projectile damage up. And then, let's see, I see HP up, strike damage up. What's this? Range and accuracy up. That could be right in the right situation. And then this one here, this will shorten the casting time, and then also raise projectile damage. If you're wild about using those charge skills, then maybe you could equip this one, but I would not. And then for reaction skills, she has the best reaction skill in the game, which is Reflex. This can totally evade magic or physical attacks, even 100% hit attacks. So yeah, level this one to max, and then maybe just put it on and leave it on forever. I don't think you even need to worry about these other ones here. But yeah, Reflex is so good that you might not even need to build her for evade. You could just rely on that and then put her on your evade party, and then she would be great in there. And then I've never really felt a need to raise Lucia's HP or defense because the fact that she attacks people from so far away, she's much less likely to be attacked herself. And so especially if you pair her with a tank, she'll be able to survive very well, I think. But we can look at Espers. Tetrasulfid would be a good one for her. That could raise her evade. You can give her Odin, of course, for the Man-Eater. That'll be especially good in Arena. Anybody with projectile attacks up, or Slayers, or that kind of thing. And then for vision cards, I really like this MR card. As you can see, I've maxed this out. This will give your party plus 20 projectile attack. That'll also be really good for using her with Federica. And accuracy up 20 as well, so that's nice. Okay, then finally we can look at her artwork. Very nice artwork there. There's the 3D. Let's look at the animation there. Very good. I like how she's just basically wearing panties there. See how she looks from behind. Very good. Alright, and that is Lucia. Alright, I think that'll do it for this review. If you decide to pull for her, good luck. Alright, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.